Today I will show you how to draw and stylize your architecture floor plans using one software. I will also show you and teach you step by step 3 must-learn drawing styles. Okay, ladies and gents, welcome back to a brand new video. If you're new to the channel, my name is Rowntree. I'm an architectural designer and content creator. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and like the video whilst you're at it. So the architectural floor plan is arguably the most crucial drawing that we do within architecture. So it needs to be communicated clearly. Typically you'd see a floor plan like this, very minimal, black and white, but today I want to show you how you can add a bit of style to your drawings to make it more engaging for the viewer. And these plans were drawn and stylized all within one software called Rayon. For a long time, I have been trying to streamline my architecture drawing workflow and finding the most time efficient way of producing my architectural drawings. And I think Rayon is a really great solution. Rayon is an online one-stop software for building architecture floor plans, meaning you don't need any post-production software to get your drawings ready for presentation. Okay, so I'm going to start drawing my floor plan. So I'm going to open up a new canvas. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start drawing some walls. This is super rough, but I've got a general idea of what the floor plan is going to be. And as you can see here, it snaps, which is really useful. It tells you the dimensions and the lengths of the various walls that you're drawing. And then you can click on the walls, you can change the thickness, you can change the alignment, and then you can start adding the openings such as doors, windows, etc. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure all of the walls and doors are in the same layer, which I think is really important because when it comes to stylizing the drawing, the layers are absolutely crucial. And I've made something looking like this. So kind of got like a boot floor plan. It's going to be an office floor plan. Now you've got a base where you can start importing your furniture. And when you open the block library, you'll see that there are many, many assets to choose from. And one thing that I really like is that they've kind of grouped the blocks based on types. So you've got office type, you've got toilet type, for example, and adding enough furniture to make it realistic. I'm going to finish up by adding some toilets and sinks. And then the next stage is going to be defining some zones. So you can use the zone divider at the bottom, and this is just going to help you define some zones where there isn't going to be a wall structure or a kind of enclosed space, but you want to use it to create some hatches or something on the floor. So what I'm going to do is just add some zone dividers, just to give a little bit of language and some kind of differentiation between the spaces. You can start adding zones themselves, which you can then start adding hatches to, etc. The next addition to this floor plan is going to be plants. I think plants are a great addition to a floor plan. I think it really brings them to life, especially these plants that they have available in this block library. I think work really, really well. But obviously making sure that they're not too harsh in the plan. I always drop the opacity ever so slightly so they're a bit of a softer addition to the plan. But I definitely recommend adding some plants in your floor plans. I think it looks really good. And then the final thing is going to be adding some people to show some movement and activity. So I'm going to add people that are walking, people that are sat down, to show some interaction with the furniture and kind of show some of the spaces and begin to define the activities that are happening in each space. And voila, you have something like this. This floor plan literally took me about an hour to create. Really, really quick and easy to use, efficient to use. And now you can start stylizing the drawings, which I think is where the drawings will come to life, where you begin to add some character and style to the drawings, which is something that I'm passionate about. So without further ado, let's dive into the first style. So style number 1 is going to be inverted. Personally, this is my favorite. I love inverted drawings. I think white line work on a black or a dark background looks really, really good. First thing I'm going to do is create a new layer and draw a background. So for me, I'm going to add a kind of dark blue color where I'm going to invert all of the line weights white on the background. And it's really important to create a new layer here because you need to drop the background behind all the walls, the furniture, the plants, etc. You need to have the background behind all of the layers so that all of the white is visible on top. And then simply what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all of the different blocks, different assets in the floor plan and change all of the strokes to white. And something that I'm going to be careful here is making sure that some of the white isn't too bold and you can drop the opacity ever so slightly. And some of the backgrounds, I'm going to drop the opacity too. So as you can see here with this cyclist, you could either have him as just line weight, or you could drop in a white background with a low opacity, just to give it that extra layer and that extra kind of graphic look. And then the next thing is going to start adding some textures and hatches that are going to overlay the blue. So what I'm going to do is going to add a zone in this area here, which is kind of like this communal space. And I'm going to change it to kind of like a hard flooring and drop the opacity down. So you've got this kind of grey, but also a kind of different tone of blue to give the drawing a little bit more of a kind of layered look. And I'm just going to drop the zone down behind all of the other elements, like what I did with the background. You want to make sure the zones are behind all of the furniture. I'm going to do the same with these kind of office cubicles. Just going to add a kind of tile effect. And making sure that the opacity of the background is about right. You don't want the whites too harsh, you don't want it too kind of in your face, you want it a little bit more subtle. So I'm just going to kind of play around with this for a while until I've got something like this. And I think this looks really nice. I personally really like this drawing. I think the line works look really good. I think the kind of level of line work works really well on the dark background. You've got some kind of harsh, bold whites in there with the kind of solid wall at the back. But the rest of it's quite delicate and looks really nice. So yeah, that is the first style. The next style is going to be a pastel color scheme. I also personally really enjoy a pastel color scheme. You can get a color palette off the internet or just choose or create a color palette yourself. But what I'm going to do here, I'm going to create like a kind of dark purpley red burgundy type color scheme, which I think looks really nice as a kind of pastel color. So what I'm going to do is just change the background color to this kind of purpley brown type color, and then I'm just going to start basically adding exactly the same things. Everything's white, everything's inverted, but just adding some more kind of color and some layering behind the drawing. So what I'm going to do is just draw around this area here, which is kind of like an external area. That's just kind of defines the zone between the building and the car park. And what I'm going to do is just make this a kind of slightly lighter color to give the drawing a kind of bit more of a layering and a little bit more of a color scheme. As you can see, the pastel color palette makes it quite soft, makes it quite calming. It's a little bit more softer than the kind of harsh dark blue and white. This gives it a little bit more of a layered look. But one thing I want to do here that is going to really bring the drawing to life is to add some shadows. And so what I'm going to do once again is create a new layer and just start hand drawing in using the polyline and add some kind of dark grey shadows. And I think this is just going to make the drawing pop a little bit more. I'm going to fill the shadow in black and then drop the opacity and also add it to other areas of the drawing. And as you can see here, now you've got a bit more of a layered look. It gives it a bit more of a three-dimensional look with the shadows. And that is the pastel color scheme. And then the final style is going to be something slightly more realistic. The final style is going to be a textured slash kind of realistic look. And this is where I'm going to use the realistic textures within Rayon to show you how you could put some actual floor finishes in to begin to kind of make it look quite realistic. So to begin with, I'm just going to use the kind of the black and white base that I had previously, but maintain the shadows. I think the shadows are working really well for these drawings. So I'm going to maintain the shadows in here. And all I'm going to do is change the zone hatch to a texture hatch and add this kind of this wood effect. I'm going to apply it throughout the floor plan, but in some areas I'm just going to drop the opacity slightly just to kind of define some zones and to kind of give it that layered look again. I quite like this tile look, especially if you drop the opacity, it looks quite nice. Just outside the building where we had that lighter tone in the pastel color scheme, I'm going to add a bit of tarmac and show some hard textures to just to define that zone. And there you go, there is a more realistic floor plan where you can use the Rayon textures and use all of the different range of textures that they have available to create something slightly more realistic.
So there are 3 stylized architecture floor plans and showing you the process of producing them through Rayon. If you'd like to try Rayon, you can create an account for free using the link down below in the description. I'd make sure you check it out. I hope you enjoyed the process of me producing those floor plans and showing you how I stylized them. So thank you so much for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please smash the thumbs up button, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and I'll see you next time. Peace.